Well, first we'll just start with Saturday's Xfinity Championship. I know you have to be a proud team owner. 3 of the 4 drivers are your guys. So how are you feeling today, and just what are your expectations?
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous about all that. So uh, you run all year long trying to have success and win races and try to have a productive company and everything moving forward for the employees. But the day to day running of a company and a business, you kind of watch all that play out throughout the year. You want to have an opportunity to race for a championship, and then you finally get here, and you're just kind of a ball of nerves all day to see how it plays out. It's really out of your control. It's down to the driver and the team and the car all working together so that everything goes right, and there's nothing really that I can do about it. So you just try to be supportive in the days leading up to the race. And this morning I made a couple phone calls to some of the guys on the teams, and you hope for the best. We got 3 out of the 4 cars that are going for the championship today in the race, and so we got a great shot at it. But it's very high, very competitive, and we'll have to see how it works out.
Yeah, when you make those phone calls, what are you telling them? What are you saying to them?
Well, I think that you give them your opinion about how you feel like the race might play out, and what the urgency needs to be. And this is a relatively short race. My expectations about how the cautions may fall, and how that matters into how urgent they are from the very start of the race. I give them that information because as a broadcaster and studying up for the event, you see the trends and the way things typically play out here. And so I have an idea of how I feel like this race should go. And so just trying to prepare the drivers for that information and letting them know how you can't sit there and wait for this thing to come to you. You have to be on attack from the moment the green flag drops, racing as if every position is for the win. This is you have to really work hard from the very start of the race. And in a lot of other races throughout the year, you put yourself in position, you pace yourself, you wait for the end to strike, or you can allow yourself to sort of wait for things to come your way, and other drivers making mistakes and so forth. But you can't rely on any of those things today. It's all in your hands from the moment they wave the green flag. The intensity is going to be really high.
Okay, but that's kind of nice that you can say, "Hey, okay, well, I'm studying for my job, but also it's helping me give these guys some information as a broadcaster now."
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is kind of helpful to you're here and you're involved. I'd love to be. Yesterday I was in the TV compound and working on my job as a broadcaster, and I was up in the booth for the Cup practice. Part of me would love to be down in the garage with our Xfinity teams in the haulers, listening on the radio, all the communication, all the changes they're making to the cars. I would really, really love to be there to influence one way or another, to have a little more deep understanding of exactly what each individual team's dealing with, the challenges they're dealing with. But unfortunately, I can't do that. But you can learn from this vantage point. You definitely see the race maybe in a unique way compared to how they feel. And so you can share that opinion, and maybe it gives them a bit more better perspective on how to run the race.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then looking ahead to Sunday, the 4 guys that are competing for that championship, do you think one has an advantage over the other? And how do you see it playing out for those 4 guys?
Well, I really pay attention to practice. We had about a 60-minute practice yesterday, and I pay attention to the speed, the pace, how quick the cars are. I know that you can also look at historical information how they ran at this race earlier in the year, how they ran at tracks similar to Phoenix throughout the year. You can go off of a vibe or a feel about the momentum a driver might have coming into this race, but I really put a ton of weight on the speed and the speed in the cars that I saw yesterday in the practice. And from that, I had a lot of confidence in Chase Elliott. He had a run near the end of practice that was really impressive. I thought that Joe Logano could match those lap times. So I believe it'll be those two guys neck and neck throughout the race. Ross Chastain can run a really fast lap, but his car slowed down a little bit. He struggled a little bit at lap 10, lap 20 to match what Chase Elliott and Joey could do. And Christopher Bell struggled the entire practice. Didn't put a fast lap down at the beginning, didn't match their lap times throughout practice. His car just simply doesn't have the pace as the other three. He's lacking only a half of a tenth or a tenth. It's a very, very small margin, but that'll be a big difference over the entirety of the race. So obviously, on pit road, they can leapfrog each other. And once you get that track position or you are in position ahead of the other guy, you can certainly make it really difficult for him to get around you. But just in terms of looking at the speed of the cars, and if you lined all four of them up side by side, who's got the quicker car at this moment? I'd say it's Chase Elliott, just by a very small margin over Joey.
And we talked to him a couple of days ago, and he's like, I'm just ready to get to the race. Like, let's just get there. Forget all the hoopla. So I think he's kind of feeling calm, cool, collected. Obviously, 3 years in a row he's competing. So it's all those first-time nerves are also out the way for him.
Yeah, I think all the drivers feel that way. In terms of like, hey, I just cannot wait to get in the car and buckle in and get started. We talk and talk and talk. We prepare. We watch video. We're doing tons of media. All the drivers are jumping through hoops literally all week long. And all of this is just an obstacle to getting in the car and racing. They just want to find out what happens. They just want to know the end of the story and whether they're going to be the one that holds the championship trophy. And all of these things they're doing all week are just delaying that process. And so that is a bit frustrating and it's hard to have patience. But all of them just want to get in and figure this out. They would start this race right this minute if they could to decide this championship. And they're just eager to know the truth about what's going to happen, and they got to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I want to go back real quick to Martinsville last week. What was your reaction when you saw Ross Chastain's move? And now that you've had a little time to process it, when I saw it, I was like, am I watching that in real time? Like, did that actually just play out like that? So
I think we all had a similar reaction when we first saw him go into the corner like that. I think we all immediately had concern that there was an issue. And then as we saw it play out, literally, this is just like half a second or a second later, you realize, okay, it's not a problem. This is an intentional act. And this is now we got to look at the scoreboard and see how this has affected his opportunity to get into the championship round. And you could pretty much assume in a relatively short period of time that he had done what he needed to do. It was a very heroic, gutsy move. It takes a little bit of, a lot of guts, very little skill, but it's a Hail Mary. It's a throw it up for grabs moment. Just about any quarterback can bomb 150 yards toward the end zone and hope for the best. So it does take a lot of guts because it's absolutely dangerous. He assumes a risk physically to do something like that, and so it's really cool. I think to see that I think it's cool to see a new standard for what drivers are willing to do for this opportunity to race for a championship. So he has raised the bar in terms of how hard and how far somebody may be willing to go to get to this point. And that's great. We need the drivers to keep moving that line and pushing the sport forward. He put us as an industry in front of so many people this week that would obviously have never watched a NASCAR race or saw a clip. And now a lot of those people are absolutely interested to come see a race or watch a race to see if they see something similar. And so what he did for himself was amazing, but I think what he did for the sport was even more impressive. And anytime you can, as they say, go viral or really, get out there to the masses like that, it's a big thing for the sport. So we'll benefit from that from some time. We'll be watching that clip. They'll be using that clip, utilizing that clip to advertise and promote the sport in many ways going forward. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. And my final question for you, just obviously with tickets going on sale for North Wilkesboro, I know we talked about it. You were going up there just hoping it could be something for iRacing, and you got to race there this year. And now to know that the Cup Series is going to go there for the All-Star race in 2023, what does it mean to you to see it kind of just all kind of fall into place like that, and to know that the Cup Series will return there in some form?
I just can't wait. I'm gonna go and sit as a fan and watch that entire experience. I remember when we were there earlier this year, the environment and the energy and the vibe was very special, and such a great feeling just being there and experiencing all that, and just like a night you never wanted to end. And so even like in the pre-race, just everybody just sitting there so excited and comfortable and happy and patient, and there was so much grace. All the all of the the traffic issues, the dated facilities, everything was very minimal and limited as in terms of what a fan experience is like at most facilities. So the grace that everyone had that night was so refreshing and nice. Everybody was like, "Hey, this is great. I'm happy to be here. It's going to be a fun thing." And we all experienced an awesome show, a great race. I had a blast in the car, but I expect the same exact experience when I go watch this All-Star race. I expect it to feel amazing and look amazing. So I'm pumped about that. But hopefully that means that the track has a long future ahead of it, and everything goes well, everything goes smooth. In terms of the racetrack handling the wear and tear, and the cars putting on a great show, and hopefully the fans really come with that same grace, because the facility is with its challenges. There's not a lot of great access in terms of traffic patterns and so forth, and there'll be a lot of amenities that won't be there that you expect at other facilities. So I know I'll be coming there with that same grace and excited just to be back at Wilkesboro with a Cup cars circling that racetrack.